Hi, I'm Gary.
Hello, I'm Leon, the grandfather.
We are Gary and.
The grandfather.
So, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, Gary, I was thinking to myself,
That's
I'm
interesting.
a happy man, right? I'm a happy man.
Mm-hmm.
And why am I happy? Right? Why am I happy? Because in reality, I'm getting old, body will get more and more frail,
Mm-hmm.
so why should I be happy? And I think ultimately it's because at some point in my life, when I was relatively young, I decided that whatever happened in life, it was all going to work itself out.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be a good life. Whatever happened materially in the world, wealth, no wealth, relationships, no relationships,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to end this mortal existence at some level of happiness. And not every day is happy, of course. But overall, I would say I'm quite well rounded that way. I'm quite happy with
Mm-hmm.
existence, right?
Yeah.
And I think personally it's a decision, happiness, right?
Okay.
So what do you think?
I think it is a decision.
Hmm.
And this, I've told you before about how off and on over the years I've suffered from some depression,
Hmm.
and um, from what I've learned from that, I've never been medicated, never been diagnosed
Okay.
with anything, but
So despair, kind of existential angst, if you can put it that way.
probably,
Okay.
just it
Yeah.
just depends. Things aren't going your way, and
Yeah, yeah.
you feel helpless, and you don't
Yeah.
know what to.
And then you spill
To
the
do,
coffee.
and
Then you
then
spill the coffee on your magazine or your newspaper. And
yeah,
you
and
leave
then
it
just
at
things spiral off
yeah.
control, and then you start looking for the negative, where it could be a sunny day, and you spot the one rain cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've had times like that off and on over the years. But like you said, I I have come to realize that happiness is created. We create our own happiness. That every day I wake up, if things are going down a path I don't like, for example, I feel tired or running late to work or whatever, I give myself a minute to have that thought, and then I say, no, you can do better than that.
Yeah.
And then
Well said.
I push it out and get on and think about, other things, what I'm going to do that day, things I want to accomplish, how I can start working towards these goals, etc., etc. The good things, positive things.
Well, about 4 years ago, I went to a yoga conference in India, right? In Coimbatore in the south.
Yoga.
Yeah, kind of interesting, right? And the guru there said that I decide whether it's, when I wake up, when I have consciousness in the morning, I decide whether it's going to be a good day or a bad day. And it's interesting because some days I decide it's going to be a bad day, right? I decide I'm just not happy, I've forgotten my homework or some frustration,
Yeah.
and I decide it's going to be a bad day. And it is. But who decided? I did.
Well, it's
I did.
empowering. It's
I did.
empowering.
Oh, for sure. So you're in control of this happiness. But,
Yeah.
But Gary, I honestly believe that it has to do. The happiness has to do with my theological outlook on life.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 20 years old, I had a conversation with God on a beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really, since that time, I've been a man of faith, quite honestly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel that whatever happens to me in the next life, given that there is a next life, I'll be okay. And it's given me, if you will, an underpinning to this life, right? So whatever happens in this life is part of what will happen given my actions, etc., etc., right? But I will be fine. I will be okay. And I think if more people thought this way, you wouldn't have the angst. And, you ever wonder, ask yourself, you read these stories about, well, the drummer, that famous drummer, died 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Got everything to live for, and unfortunately died. How many people do we know from history that all had all the money and all the power in the world? The Marilyn Monroe syndrome, if you will, and
Yeah.
great unhappiness before they die. Not me, not me. In fact, when I win $1 million, I'm going to be happier. 2 million, okay. But they say that's not true, of course, right?
Well, I think one of the problems with these people who they become rich overnight from winning the lottery, or even people who become famous, I think for a lot of people, they don't, or most people maybe even, they don't know how to handle it, because suddenly you get a lot more people wanting to be friends, so to speak. So suddenly you go from being,
Isolated.
let's say you're
a loser.
Let's say you're a nice, you're a nice fish floating around in a nice water somewhere, some other nice fishies, right? And then suddenly you're floating there, but there's a lot of sharks you're floating around with you.
And you're also the big fish now, too.
Yeah.
Right.
So it totally changes the people who are around you. And the problem, I think, is you can't really go back.
No.
No,
that's true. That's true.
Until you have nothing, and at that point, they'll ditch you. And
that's right. I for years on my fridge, I actually used to have the story of a man in Canada won $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 years he was broke, writing the government asking for welfare, and then they refused and he hung himself. But I used to put it on my fridge just to watch it every morning. You put that money in the bank, and you get $500,000 a year. Do nothing, right? Do nothing. But instead, he had a lot of friends, and a lot of parties, and a lot of girlfriends, a lot of parties, and he bought a logging company. Logging company? Oh, I don't think so. One of my brothers is president of a logging company, and it's not an easy job to make it successful, right? So that was all very. But 5 years, and I asked myself, how could you lose $10 million in 5 years?
In 5 years.
I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot of money. It's not $1 million. And ultimately died, through suicide, but unhappy, right?
Yeah.
Like that. There's so many stories in history like this.
Yeah, and I've seen some with sports stars as well. And all kinds. I've seen musicians where they got married to someone, their high school sweetheart or somebody, and then they hit it big, and then end up divorcing, going for somebody else. And
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know a statistic? Can I share this with you? Statistic I was reading the other day. In the Western culture, half the marriages end, 50%. First marriage. Second marriage, 60%. Third marriage, 70%. So getting married the next time doesn't improve your odds of staying happy.
Well, there's something else though, which I wonder if there's any correlation to go along with this. But by the time you get to your second marriage or your third marriage, number one, you're going to be more set in your ways. Plus, you're also going to have perhaps have children or baggage from the previous marriage.
Baggage for sure.
So I think there's going to be a combination.
That's true.
Of the three, which is going to make it even
more unhappy,
even more difficult for two people to.
And she brings her idiot son. She brings her idiot son to live with you. Yeah. Yeah.
So I can just imagine that. There's a lot of those factors like that.
Well said.
Which are probably
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what's the answer? Don't get married.
No, well.
No, marriage is nice.
I think that's a whole. Well, I think marriage to the right person is. Where it is.
Yeah, and they have to be a dynamic person, because you're going to change, and God willing, she changes with you, right?
Well, I've always heard that so many stories about people who they fall out of love because they haven't been growing together.
Absolutely.
That they been, 10, 20 years later, and they're going separate directions, or they're just coexisting, but they have been working towards similar goals. Or
Yeah. Well, this is a big phenomenon apparently in Japan, that these housewives, and they get married, and the wife stays at home, 2, 3
Mhm.
children, and the husband gives her a little tiny bit of money, and with that money she invests, makes her own money, doesn't take away from the family budget, but uses it to make money. And when the old man retires, she says, bye-bye. They can't cook, they can't clean, and if there are these support groups, supposedly, yeah, in Japan, for these old men who've been divorced when they're 60-something, 65. And there's another whole genre of Japanese men who break windows so they get arrested and put in
I've heard
jail.
about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right up there with, O. Henry. I mean, a lot of his stories were associated with, putting yourself in jail and what have you, Yeah.
Well, getting back to this happiness thing, right? And you mentioned that they can't cook, they can't clean, they can't do anything. I think that for me, one of the things that
You can cook,
oh yeah,
you can clean.
I don't like
Marriage
it, but
material, marriage material.
But I think that the cooking. Sometimes I'll have to cook something up for you.
For sure.
You know.
Because I don't cook, I eat.
Well, I think it's. I even have my own secret recipe for
Wow.
pasta sauce.
No way.
And pizza sauce.
Wow.
But, anyways, the the reason I had learned to do this was
Mom?
no.
No?
It was because of I just wanted to learn. You see, that in more recent times, last 2-3 years, I've discovered that I just like learning. I like doing things.
Oh, wow.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
And doing things and learning the process of doing things, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing things, whether I'm good at it or I'm not good at it, it doesn't matter. Just the process of learning how to do it and the experience, I enjoy that. Plus, I think it gives, knowing how to do something, it gives you what I call added value. If you're trying to sell yourself as a person, not on a prostitution level, but I mean more of like a marketing level, your brand, for example,
personal brand.
your personal brand. I think that knowing how to do something, or at least having a bit of knowledge about it, that it helps you sell yourself better, market yourself, your brand better. And for me, that's a major confidence boost.
Absolutely.
When you can do things and you can talk to people and have some knowledge of different things. And that there again, it for me makes me feel happy. Because then I can talk with more people and relate to more people about things. And I think we do need such interactions.
Absolutely.
Even I'm quite introverted.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they wouldn't even realize it because I do go out and socialize with people. And I think that
Yeah, I'm very shy, for instance.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think everybody, even the most introverted people, we still need company in our lives.
For sure.
Proof, when we were in lockdown and I was just living in an apartment with my cat.
Yeah.
Well, I love my cat and we had a lot of fun. But at the same time, it would be nice to have
human company.
Some human company there.
Absolutely. Yeah. May I share a story?
Sure.
I'm very shy, and so getting into education has been really great for me because it's given me self-confidence that I've never had before, right? But I knew that I had really arrived when I went to give a speech, a couple of hundred people, and I reached in my briefcase for my notes.
Oh.
Have you had this?
Oh,
Wrong
no.
notes. Yeah, wrong
Well,
notes.
you had notes, just not the right
No,
ones.
that's the wrong notes. Yeah. So, and I had to ad lib for the next hour or 2 hours, whatever. And it went away, and somebody came up at the end and said, "That was a fabulous speech, thank you." And I thought, I've arrived.
Nailed it.
I've arrived. But you realize that people want you to succeed in life.
That's true. That's true.
You know? Like you were speaking earlier about language, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's true, is that if you can convince people, forget the grammar and forget all the nonsense, just try to communicate your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Western people are very open to helping you. Very open. Nobody cares about you. Is your grammar perfect, or did you have this article or didn't have this article? Whatever. Communicate with me. But I do think, Gary, that like you were talking about, people do respect people with some style. Do you stand up? Do you shake my hand? Do you look at my eyes? I think these these suggest some confidence, and these are respected for sure, I think.
Well, going back with style, I think that, I think there is the classical, traditional sense of style, like you're saying. I think that even outside of that classical sense, now maybe it's because of the generation gaps between us, probably.
Yeah.
But I think also, what I really like? I like a person who is not afraid to have their style.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, I used to work in a winery.
Yeah. Winery.
And
Wow.
yeah, used to do the wine tastings and then give them tours of the operations
Oh,
area.
cool.
And I'll never forget. I guess I was probably 21 at the time, and I was a lot smaller than I am now, and a lot more timid, shy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not confident at all.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, because a lot of the clientele that would come in were these cyclists on their Harleys, these big guys, big rough and gruff with all their tattoos up and down their arms, and then their female companions were looking a bit rough as well, probably smoking outside and coming in. The whole was stereotypical image, and you'd see a lot of the guys like this coming in, and the first time they came in, I had to, serve them, whatever. I would feel a little, hello there, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
And feel a little nervous. But something that stuck with me, a few things. First off, it's really wrong to judge people for their looks.
Absolutely.
Because these were some of the nicest people I've ever met when working in a retail environment.
Wow.
They were always very friendly,
Wow.
very kind,
Wow.
down to earth people,
Just not in a back alley, maybe.
But
in a back alley, you'd have another problem.
But these were really, really good people.
Yeah.
And they...
Hey, Dave, what do you think you're doing later, Dave? Yeah, come talk to me, Dave.
Who's Dave?
You never met Dave?
I don't want to meet Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Oh.
You don't like this name?
I don't want... No, I don't want Dave or Bubba or...
How about Bob? Did I ever tell you about
Oh,
Bob?
you told me about... No. But anyways, with these people, something I liked compared to some of the other clients who'd come in.
Fake.
Yeah, they'd always say, I say, what's your wine preference? And they'd always say, we like the dry reds, Cabernet, Sauvignon, Merlot, whatever. So then I'd always serve him the wines on that side of the spectrum.
Okay. Yeah.
And then at the end of the whole tasting, they'd always buy the ones that taste like your Welch's grape juice, or your Boone's Farm or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what they'd always buy, the sweet stuff.
Mm.
Yet they'd always tell me
They wanted this.
they wanted the dry stuff. And you could tell from their mouth expressions that they really
Didn't know anything.
didn't like it at all. And with the motorcycle cyclists who came in, they just walk up, they say, "Give me the sweetest stuff you've got."
Wow.
That they knew what they wanted.
Sweet wine.
They didn't care about their reputation or their image. They were confident in their own skin, and they knew what they wanted. There was even one guy who had recommended the wine to me. He said, there's this wine comes from Netherlands. He said, you're going to laugh when you hear it, but you really got to try it if you like wine. It was some kind of, it was some wine where they had mixed chocolate in.
Wow, my God.
So it was a chocolate wine.
Wow.
And I guess there was fruit, grapes or whatever, wine, but they
Novel.
mixed chocolate in.
Novel.
And as soon as he said it, this is a big,
Wow.
Harley driver, and he says it. And I started laughing. He said, "You gotta try that." And he told me where I could get it.
Wow.
So I went down and got a bottle.
It's good.
It was fantastic, yeah.
Wow, different.
It was really, really good.
I remember, as an aside here, I remember going to university and having a party and having somebody brought some 2 or 3 good bottles of wine. Everyone drank it 2 or 3 parties before. Just fill it up again with any plunk you could find. And we had a French connoisseur came once. Oh, this is such good wine. Oh, it says, I know this wine. It was just plunk. Didn't know anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Totally fake. Funny.
Yeah. But that's that's what I like. Is you said of style, and I like people who are honest and real.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they know who they are, they know their style, whether it's dressed in suit and tie or their style is just jeans with holes in it and a t-shirt 2 sizes too small.
Yeah. But what I like about you, Gary, honestly, is that you what I've noticed is that you can float between an informal look and a formal look, right? I've seen you dress formally, and I think that's the secret, isn't it? Is that you know when to dress in an appropriate way. Like you wouldn't appreciate a biker coming in with the tattoos and blue jeans into a formal wedding when you're getting married. You wouldn't appreciate it. You'd accept them because they're big and tough and they'd be unique. But they would have a lot more class if they were all done right up to the nines, wouldn't they? Really, a little tuxedo on and the bow tie. And wow, John, boy, my gosh, I never thought you would dress up like that. Of course, I could dress
But
up.
they would. See, that's the thing. They would.
No, but that's the point. If they would, then you'd say, wow, a guy's got real style. But if they ended up just like a boor, right? I mean...
I'm just thinking some of the weddings I've been to here, people showing up in their, their sandals. And
I know, shocking. I actually watched a couple one day. The woman was stunningly good looking. And she was dressed in this formal dress. And the husband, overweight, gut hanging out, blue jeans on, and this poor child dressed like the husband. And they're obviously, and there's a wedding, they're obviously on their way to a wedding. And I thought to myself, what's the dynamic there? I mean, there's no way. Well, my parents always knew what to do, my father and mother. I'm sure your mother and father were the same. They always know how to dress. There was never a question about, do we know how to dress for that event, right? You know what I mean?
Well, that's funny about dressing, because I think that, usually especially in a really hot climate, humid climate, I think that it's very hard to dress well, especially if you're overweight, and then that's going to make you bothered by the heat, probably, like myself. So you're bothered by the heat. You're already overweight, so finding clothes that, you know, do your figure wonders. It's a bit more challenging than for some people. But I do, so for me personally, I'm pretty casual with my dress. But I do think, and this is where I think some people miss out on it with the dressing. I think that there are occasions where, you know, Friday night date night for a special occasion, whatever, like a really special, not just
I know. Yeah,
like
yeah,
a really
absolutely.
special, where dressing up.
Matters.
Well, I don't think it's not that it matters in a sense, but I think where it matters most is in yourself,
Yeah.
because
Yes.
if you rarely dress up, doing something very special, going to a really nice, treating yourself to a really nice steakhouse, you
It's true.
know,
It's true.
once every 6 months or 3 months or whatever for special occasion, dressing up, you know, dressed to the nines, whatever, makes you feel like $1,000,000.
Absolutely.
And then that's what makes you feel good.
Mm.
But if you do it all the time, just like if you drink fancy wines all the time, or you drive fancy cars all the time, whatever, it loses.
For sure. Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. You have to do. You, I guess in a certain sense of the word, Gary, it's living your life with some panache, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
why not? I mean,
Yeah.
that's always my question. And this is where it deeply is associated with happiness. I think if you know that you're alive, so to speak, then you want happiness in your life, right? I was showing some of my students today how to do some yoga exercises, you know, and I've done yoga long enough that my stomach is quite strong, so I can hold my legs up for a protracted period of time, long period of time, and they were laughing and giggling, and they're trying it and followed down, and I thought to myself, what a wonderful experience to be young, right? You know, and many people say that what happens is that our imagination is actually educated out of us in a way. And I think that's an interesting statement. It's from Ken Robinson, Sir Ken Robinson. You know, he says this, and you know, and I think it's somewhat true that as I get older, I no longer want to have fun. And one of the blessings about being an educator is that you can still have joy with young people, and because if you don't, you have no respect. You have well, you know,
Yeah.
you have chaos, everything else, right?
Well, you know what? I think another thing, like, I would agree with this. And because I've thought about this as well. The difference, like, I've have some friends where you look at them now and you think about who they were 5, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. And you can see that they've totally changed because
Not
of
for the better.
well, just almost as in a hollow shell of who they used to be,
Wow.
because of
Relationships.
or obligations, work, and I think another big problem is for a lot of these people, they after you get out of university, you do have your other obligations, such as family, career,
Sure.
whatever. So I think number one, because of this, people don't allow themselves a bit of time to, do something that interests them, like a hobby, for example. I think it's important to have some sort of hobby in your life, something you like to do. Secondly, I really feel strongly that by the time you grow up and become an adult, for a lot of these people, they become stagnant almost.
Yes, for sure.
That they don't want to try new things.
Yeah.
They're scared to try new things.
Yeah.
They don't try new things.
Yeah.
if you eat the same food every day for a year, you're going to feel bored.
Absolutely.
Uh,
But another thing that I think is really important is you need a role model at any age. I have a friend, he's 92. Girlfriend drives a car, bought a new car last year. You know, he's the man who went to, I told you, he went to Istanbul on his own with a credit card. Just flew there on a whim, hotel room, stayed 2 months, I think. Traveled all over Turkey, down in Cappadocia, the whole thing. Across Cappadocia and down to Ephesus, and all on his own, right? All on his own. And because he could do it. Right?
Yeah.
He could. And that's my dream, in that sense. But you need a mentor to guide you. If you don't have one, it's harder, I think, in a way, isn't it? We need these role models, whether it was 16 or 60. Someone you look up to, respect, right?
Well, I think like you said with him, he seems like he just enjoys life. He enjoys living. But
with frustration, I mean, he's a
sure,
human being,
But with people like that,
Yeah.
he did something.
Absolutely.
He could have just stayed wherever
Yeah.
in his hometown
Yeah.
and just like most people
Yeah.
of his age would.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he did something. He went halfway across the world.
Yeah.
Stayed for 2 months.
Yeah.
Tried new foods and the whole thing. And I think that's what I mean. I teach little children, and even the smallest things excite them.
Yeah.
The smallest
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah.
We are talking about, okay, you take a coin and you spin it on the table. The kids, they will get so excited about that. And to us, we think, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Or to play, what's that game,
Oh yeah, I know they play this game with the hands.
Rock, paper, scissors,
rock,
or paper, scissors, stone.
Yeah.
That, again, for us, okay. But for them, exciting.
Yeah.
Or even, take the whole, this is where I'm dating myself too, but a few years ago there was that popular song, what was it, Baby Shark, right?
Yeah.
And, one day I'm riding the train and I hear some kids just burst out into, singing Baby Shark and doing the whole, all the actions. And I think that's why they're happy, because at their ages,
they can be spontaneous,
and they can experience so many new, different, unique, exciting things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we don't allow ourselves, if we don't give ourselves these experiences as we age, if we just force ourselves into
a mold,
a routine.
I'm serious.
I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to be this. I have to be that.
It's true.
If we, into a boring, heartless, cold, dark routine.
Yeah.
That's what really
absolutely
sucks the life and the happiness from you.
Well, I think that's the classic Dickens sort of story, A Christmas Carol. Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge,
Oh yeah.
Bitter old man, and he's visited by those spirits.
Yes.
And the spirit of the past, the present, and the future, and he changes his world. And I think, isn't that the truth?
You know what? I guess it's getting a little bit late here, but I'll share one more thing.
Okay.
You can share something, but speaking about,
I always got something to share. You too.
Speaking with Christmas.
Yeah.
Now this really put a smile on my face. Sitting there at a coffee shop with a friend of mine over lunchtime. I'm drinking my coffee, and then next thing I know, I hear I think it was like Last Christmas or like I'll Be Home for Christmas or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I hear Christmas song playing, nonchalantly on the music rotation.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm thinking, it's really hot. It's almost April, almost Easter, and my ears are hearing this Christmas song.
Yeah.
I just thought I couldn't sit there and listen to it.
Yeah.
And what made it even worse was it was this country western singer, so they got the whole accent and everything, and I just can't.
That used to be our big sales theme, was Christmas in July, with the summer doldrums and selling. We used to have this promotion.
Yeah.
I'm trying to really rocket it. Yeah, I will tell you one quick story, and this is my friend Keith. I'm just married.
Yeah.
Just married. He phones me up. Do you have $5,000? Right, and I did. We'd saved $5,000. So I said yes. He said, I want you to go down and buy this stock. I said, how do you buy a stock? He said, you got to get a stock broker at the time. So it wasn't online, of course. And you go to buy this stock. So I went down, I found a formal broker, and I said, I want to buy this stock. And he said, you can't buy that stock. I said, why not? He said, because that's a very risky stock. And he was very formal with a little bow tie. And I said, well, I want to buy that stock. He said, you shouldn't buy that stock. I said, look, it's my money. I want to buy the stock. So we bought the stock. About 3 weeks later, my wife found a house. We're going to buy a house. We needed, I think, we had 5,000. My parents would give us 10,000. It was enough for a down payment, right? Whatever. And so I phoned up the broker and I said, I want that money. I have to cash in my stock. He said, you can't. I said, why not? He said, it's been suspended. Suspended. Why? He said, there's an announcement coming out. 3 weeks into my $5,000. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. The announcement came out 3 days later. My 5,000 became 20,000. And I sold, of course. And that increased our down payment on our house. Right? And then, by the way, don't play the stock market. I lost a lot of money. But it was a really interesting beginning. All from totally trusting my friend. Right? Happiness.
Wow.
Right? So, wonderful.
Well, I'm going to have a good night. I hope everyone has a great night, a great day, wherever you are. Stay happy.
Stay happy.
Gary out.
The grandfather out. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.